right, so Netflix recently just posted their earnings for quarter two of 2022, and I think that that's very, very important for us to really look into, okay, because how Netflix earnings have actually been for the past few quarters is that Netflix actually kind of work as a leading indicator for all the other earnings, okay, where Netflix is, if Netflix shows a bad earning, you're going to see bad earnings for your Disney Plus, you're going to see bad earnings for all the other streaming services, your Roku, and your, like, I don't know, HBO and such, the Discovery and all. Okay, so of course, if you actually get down to the basis of it, I do think that Netflix, at a certain extent, have already peaked. Okay, back in 2020 and 2021, of course, I feel that there's the main bulk of the audience that actually came in during the pandemic, because we were all on lockdown, and it kind of makes sense for you to just subscribe to Netflix. It's what, 17 a month, and enjoy shows, you can enjoy movies, you can catch up on pop culture in general. They're all on Netflix anyway, so it kind of makes sense for them to do so. And I think that it simply means that gradually after, when the world starts to open up, it only makes sense for them to lose subscribers. Okay. And of course, today I'll be talking about some of the big issues that Netflix is going to be going through. And I also want to just give my own opinion on how I would have done it differently as well, simply because I kind of like to think about it in this manner as well. And of course, I'll also be going through the earnings to a certain extent, and just my opinions on the earnings as a whole. Okay, so first up, we have to talk about how Netflix are facing two different issues. The first one is, of course, password sharing between friends, family, and such. And the second one would definitely be the high cost of subscription. Okay, I think that these are the two big issues that Netflix will definitely be going through. The first one, how they are intending to fix this, is by actually cracking down on password sharing between friends and family. Okay, and I don't think that this is a very, very good idea. However, if they actually want to go down that road and kind of like, do a crackdown on password, I think what they can actually do is by creating some form of a 2FA authentication manner, where they kind of just blink out 3 different numbers on the platform that you're using, on your phone, on your iPad, on your television and such. Okay, just blink out 3 different numbers, and then they will just send one number over to the email address that's being linked to your Netflix account. Okay, from then on, it becomes quite simple, because from then on, then afterwards, you can just be like, oh, okay, let's say the number that is blinked out is like 37, just click on 37, and then you're in. And of course, that session would most likely last about 3 hours, simply because I think one sitting of a Netflix session is usually about 3 hours. If someone want to binge it longer, and you're gonna spend more than 3 hours, then you just have to redo it every 3 hours. I think that you're creating an obstacle to kind of force people to not want to, just share their password, because it's too much of a chore, I feel. Okay, so I think that kind of worked out in my sense. All right, the second issue would be high cost of subscription, and how Netflix is intending to fix the issue is by creating an ad version for a lower cost. And of course, if you haven't heard the news, they are going to be pairing up with Microsoft to be doing the whole entire ads supported platform and such. So Microsoft is basically going to be facilitating with all the different ads and such. Personally, again, I don't think that this is the best idea, and I'll kind of explain why. Simply because, like, if you have a tier-based subscription model, for people like me, for example, I am subscribed to Netflix since, I don't know, like 2017 or so, and I haven't really been watching a lot of Netflix either. Okay, because I'm very, very busy, and I don't really think I want to put my additional time into Netflix, and I just have Netflix, and I kind of just add different accounts with my sisters, with my sister and my brother-in-law, and even they don't watch Netflix as much. So basically, the 3 of us are basically using one Netflix account that no one is watching either. Okay, and if, for example, right now I'm paying $17 a month, okay, and if the ad version comes out and is like, I don't know, like $8 a month, I will definitely just downgrade, because I will live with the ads. I will happily live with the ads by paying less. Okay, the only reason why I want Netflix is because I want to have access to content whenever I want content. Okay, and I don't think $17 a month is going to be breaking the bank. But if I can lower my costs, I will definitely look out for a lower cost basis. Okay, and of course, I think that, I don't think the ad-supported platform is going to be like, spamming out ads like every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes or so. I think it will be something less of that level. I think they might be showing like a minute ads. I don't know, like maybe 2 or 3 times a day, which I don't think it's going to be affecting me either. Because if I actually do want to watch Netflix, I might spend about 2 hours or so. And if I watch it for 2 hours, I'm all right with a 1 minute ad or even a 2 minute ads. I don't care. I just play the ad. Just treat it like the old-fashioned television back in the day. So I don't think that's going to be affecting me as much. However, what I think they should actually add on top of this ad-supported platform is that they should actually create some form of an urgency, because I think that if they do not create a sense of urgency for subscribers to actually move over to the main tier of subscription, they will evidently still have the same issue. Okay, and I think how they can actually do this is by actually backdating, in a sense, creating this form of sense of urgency for the people who are using the ads supported platform by them not having 1 week of the latest content at all times. So the main subscribers will always have the latest episodes, the latest of everything, and then for the ad supported, they will always be 1 week late. Okay, and that way, for people who are super duper interested in like your Stranger Things, for example, because if you actually look at Stranger Things, I think they got up to 1.3 billion hours of viewing in the entirety of Stranger Things for the latest season. And I'm like, okay, personally, I did not watch Stranger Things, and I think that if you're able to actually get that big of a watching crowd, that's pretty good. And of course, this is also a series that was created by Netflix, so all wins. Okay, so pretty good. I don't think that this actually helps in a sense, but of course, I think that having a second tier or even a third tier of various subscription model is not going to be helping Netflix in the long run. Unless if you actually create various sort of sense of urgency for people to actually kind of want to join the main subscription. So yeah, and of course, I do think that it's still pretty good because you do get additional revenue from ads marketing as well. But if you're actually using ads revenue to kind of compensate for the revenue losing side of the loss of subscribers, ultimately, I think that that's still a pretty losing argument for us to actually look into. But okay, I do think that right now, Netflix currently, of course, they have one issue, which is, they kind of also recognize this issue as well. They even say it themselves. Netflix requires a hit every single month in order to keep subscribers engaged. So yeah, for example, like even for the latest season of Stranger Things, they actually stretched it out for 3 calendar months, from 27th of May all the way to 1st of July. Okay, to get 3 calendar months, that's how you basically get Netflix 3 months subscribers. So it's to the point where they feel the need for them to actually stretch it out that far. But of course, I think that is a good way for them to actually maximize the amount of people who actually subscribe to Netflix. I think that that's very, very smart of them. I don't think that is, I think that they did the right thing. Okay, but at the same time, if people basically only were watching Stranger Things and subscribing to Netflix because of Stranger Things, then of course, then you kind of have to find the next new thing to keep them engaged and such. So of course, that's going to be hard. And I think that even then, I think Stranger Things has already created this very, very strong fan base in the entirety of people who watch it. Of course, not for myself. So I do think that the retention rate for people who are just going to stay in Netflix because of Stranger Things will definitely be there as well. And of course, you will also have all your other different shows that did very well, like your Squid Game, like Umbrella Academy, and all so on and so forth. Okay, so I think that something that we need to really take into consideration would definitely be, of course, the first quarter of 2022, if we are talking about earnings. All right, so let's talk earnings wise. And I think that it's very hard for me to invest into Netflix after I really go through the earnings on Netflix. Okay, so how it actually works out is because Netflix, on the first quarter of 2022, they reported the first ever loss of subscribers since the inception of Netflix. and that has never happened before. And of course, like I said before, at the start of the video, I think that it's kind of to be expected, simply because I think the entire world is recovering. The main bulk of people who actually entered into Netflix in 2020, it's very hard for you to convert 100% of them to continue staying on Netflix. I don't think that's going to be the case, because there are people who have been stuck in their homes for 6 months, and subscribing to Netflix made sense. Okay, and people who have been working from home for a year and a half, subscribing to Netflix makes sense. And now, if everyone, well, not every one of them, if let's just say 50% of them basically have to go back to work, okay, you're looking at least about, like, I don't know, like 30% or so of those subscribers that you got back in 2020 and 2021 to basically just be like, you know what, I need to go back to work. I don't really have time for Netflix. I don't think it's worth me paying $17 a month. I'm just not going to pay for $17 a month. And then you basically just don't have enough subscribers. But the issue is, because Netflix is such a hyper growth company, and people have always heard of good things. People have always heard of high growth continuously for Netflix. So it kind of didn't make sense for Netflix to suddenly have a loss of subscribers. It has always been a drop in increment of subscribers. You don't really see a lot of loss of subscribers for Netflix, of course, until first quarter of 2022. And let's get into the nitty-gritty stuff of the earnings report. But let me just burn out some of the numbers out here first. All right, so EPS, they reported at $3.20, revenue at $8 billion, and the global paid streaming memberships at 220.7 million subscribers. Okay, so of course, it's a bit on your EPS as compared to the estimation. It's the match on revenue. However, what we do need to talk about is, of course, the guidance and such. Okay, so kind of funny, because when Netflix came out with this earnings report in the second quarter of 2022, they still lost subscribers. Do not get this wrong, okay? They lost a total of 970,000 subscribers, basically 1 million subscribers, okay? They lost 1 million subscribers, similar to back in quarter one of 2022. They also lost 1 million subscribers. But the 1 million subscriber loss in the first quarter lost Netflix about 40% in their stock's price, about 40 to 50% in their stock price, demolished because that 1 million subscriber loss. And of course, with the guidance that they actually gave for this quarter, they were actually expecting to lose 2 million subscribers in this quarter, which is why that guidance basically just broke the entire company. The company dropped 40-50%. It's quite crazy. Okay, so now you have to actually take into consideration they lost 1 million subscribers when they expected to lose 2 million subscribers. Let me repeat that for you again. Okay, the reason Netflix is up on the earnings report is because they lost less than expected at 1 million subscribers in a quarter. So yeah, you can basically see that. Of course, I think that if we actually go down the rabbit hole for all the different earnings report in this quarter, I think that it will be very, very interesting for you to really see. People can post bad earnings report, bad earnings report, and they are still relatively rewarded for it. So yeah, of course, we also have to account for various stuff, okay, such as like the latest, which is from the war. Because from the war, I think Netflix only basically pulled out from Russia, I think sometime in April, which means that it will most likely be reported in this earnings report. And pulling out of Russia, they took out about 700,000 subscribers and such. So yeah, if you actually take into consideration of that, actually Netflix is kind of down. I would like to say like about not 1 million subscribers, that's for sure. So yeah, I do think that Netflix is somehow recovering, but at the same time, the headwinds for Netflix is just way too big, and they are really starting to step into what Blockbuster actually did for them as well. So I'm not super duper happy for Netflix either. I'm not very, very hopeful for what Netflix can actually do. I like the application. I like what they're actually doing. But in the business point of view, I don't think that it's very, very investable. Okay. Unless they have a different change of business model, I do want to see how are they going to be doing the ad supported side of the platform. And what I really want to look into is also the CPM that will be going through for Netflix, because I do want to see how much are they actually like how much are they actually profiting from the ads revenue as well, because that's going to be playing a big part of the entire revenue for their company. So yeah, if they can actually get super duper high CPM, which I highly doubt, but if they can actually get super duper high CPM, then yeah, it will make sense. But if they're unable to get high CPM, for example, if they're only getting like $12 CPM, $10 CPM, or even $8 CPM, like that's gonna maybe give I don't know, $2 million. I don't think that's gonna be working out for them. So yeah. That's all I have for Netflix. I'm thinking about doing one for Tesla, because I thought that was actually quite interesting for Tesla to give us quite a bad report and still go up intraday of like 10%. But instead of me doing the Tesla one, I do need to upload the FOMC expectation. I'll upload it on Monday, because the expectation is the FOMC is going to be going down on the 27 and 28. Oh, actually, you know what? I'll do a Tesla earnings on Monday or Tuesday, and then on Wednesday I'll do the FOMC expectation video, and then afterwards, during the actual FOMC, then I'll just do the entire FOMC summary and such. But that's all I have for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the